Listen, guys, you got to fall in love with the boring. You got to recognize that the boring is essential for you to be able to do the glamorous. All right. If you want to just change your life, if you want to do something that's dramatically different, if you want to level up in every aspect of your life, you got to understand that there's going to be incredibly boring moments that are a part of that. There's no escaping it. You don't have, unless you get to a certain level, you're not going to have the money in the world to pay everybody to do all your boring shit for you. There is going to be a period of time where you're going to have to lean into that boring stuff. You're going to have to understand that if I don't take the time to learn how to do my taxes, if I don't take the time to learn how to edit videos, to market my videos, to develop professional skills that require monotonous learning for hours and hours and hours, then you're not going to get very far. I think people attach way too much to the glamorous idea of being at the destination already without having gone through the process of grinding for years and years and years to get there. And that's obvious, right? Like everybody loves the outcome. They don't love the process. But we have to find a way to fall in love with that process, because that process in its own right is actually what is probably going to give you the most satisfaction. And it's kind of tricky because you think you want the end goal. You think you want the gold at the end of the rainbow. But when it comes down to it, that the gold is really in the journey that you take to get there. And it's really in the process of becoming a higher version of yourself each and every day on your way towards discovering that gold. It's kind of like the saying that you shouldn't move to Seattle until you visit Seattle in winter, because people go in the summertime or they go when it's good weather in the fall, and they fall in love with the place and they're like, oh, this is the most amazing city. It's perfect weather. There's nature. There's the bay. There's endless things to do, coffee shops, restaurants, blah, blah, blah. But they don't actually go there when it's pouring rain for months straight and it's cloudy and it's dreary and people are out there surviving, trying to stay positive in a very dreary and gray environment. That's what you need to be able to experience before you fully commit to something, before you say, oh, I want to become a podcaster, for example, just to use my current reality. Before you say that, you have to spend time getting to know what is involved with that process. And it's so important for somebody to talk to a mentor, to talk to people who have done it before you fully commit to something. I'm all for taking action. I think having an action-oriented frame towards approaching any of your goals is very important. To just go out and do stuff. But if you have access to people, and I think most of us do with YouTube and Reddit and even in your own personal circles, there's probably someone who has gone through something similar and who has some experience of value to share with you regarding that journey. Like somebody who is a CEO of a business or a small business. I think a lot of us may or may not know small business owners or have encountered them in our lives. These people are usually pretty approachable and usually open to just giving you some free game on how they got there. They are the ones that are going to be able to tell you that it's not all sunshine and rainbows. It's actually so far from it. Like there's so much that goes into it. The monotonous grind every single day will break you. It really will break you unless you find a way to relish in it, to realize that this is actually allowing me to reach the next level. It sucks right now. It's making me tear my hair out. It's making me want to quit. It's making me want to drop everything. It's making me want to go back to what I was doing before that made me so unhappy, but at least gave me some peace of mind and some security. But when those moments happen, you have to realize that this is what it takes. This is what you signed up for. You came in it to create change in your life. You came in this, you started this journey because you wanted to end up somewhere that's radically different than your current reality. You wanted to create a radical transformation in your life. And the only way to do that is to lean into those moments of grind where it's just absolutely, you're just slogging through it. And you have to think about the balance of things. Is my motivation to reach that end goal, is it able to outweigh all these small monotonous moments that you're going to have to go through? And sometimes there's only one way to find out, and that is to take the leap, to go all in on something and to try and create that reality for yourself. When I started this podcast, I had no idea about the amount of hours that it would take to edit and how crafty I would have to be with the tactics to market my material on social media and to engage with people, and how, flaky people can be when you're trying to get guests and all this kind of stuff. So I didn't necessarily sign up for any of that. I thought I would just make a podcast and I'll put it out on the internet and people will automatically love it. And that's like, so far from the truth. And if I just talked to somebody who had a podcast or anybody who had achieved some degree of success in this space, they could have told me that. They could have shortcutted that for me. And I'm not saying this to scare anybody away from starting a big project or anything. I just say this to create awareness of what it actually takes to build something up for yourself, to build something from the ground up that doesn't have a clear course, that doesn't have the same typical 9-to-5 path, go to college, get a job, climb the ranks, and eventually retire with a nice retirement 401k or a pension. Like that is the blueprint for everybody. But if you're doing anything different than that, if you're trying to start your business, if you're trying to start a practice of your own, it could be a hobby, it could be learning jujitsu, like something that you think is all, fine and dandy because you see people who are on YouTube doing crazy stuff with it or who are achieving wild degrees of success. You have to understand the steps that it takes to get there. And those steps are actually what you're looking for. It's not the end result, it's the steps. So fall in love with each and every one of those steps and keep at it. You'll get there in no time.